Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Omari, Rome, welcome to Popternative. Thank you so much for your time.
What's up, man? Good to see you.
Rome, it's good to see you again. I feel like you're a regular at this point. It's the third time we've spoken.
It's crazy.
Omari, I find this very interesting with this one because obviously, like with it, there's a lot at play with this film. I loved a lot of kind of elements of this. Football and NFL obviously is the focal point, but there's the comedy, there's the video game, there's the family component, the relationships. Besides the football, because it's obvious, what are other kind of components that stood out to you the most with this film specifically?
I think Rome touched on it/him, and that being playing opposite Tony Gonzalez. For
Yep.
Rome, he was very natural, and
Yeah.
that's to me. I did not know the depths of Rome's talent because you're talking about a genre when looking at him on How to Get Away with Murder. I knew him from other projects as well, but typically he's sort of been, the love interest and playing off of the surface of who he is. And I think the camaraderie between the cast would have stood out, but between Rome and I specifically, I just realized that he approaches life a lot like me. He comes from grit. He throws away the obvious things that could have put a lot of food on his table and still could put a lot of food on his table. He's more about the aesthetic, more about the art, more about the storytelling. And it was nice to know that there's another me in town that the world could try to put into this box and go, just be this thing to look at and and dress well and speak well and, and whatever else well. And yet it was full of characterization and this, that, and the third. So I would just say the cast and the camaraderie stood out to me in terms of how electric and how quickly electric our chemistry was.
Yeah, absolutely. Rome, I feel like Omar kind of touched on this a little bit. Did it feel at times like it was kind of almost with a movie like this, working on two different projects because it's about sports and football, but then the other side of things, it's not about that at all. It's about life and kind of growing. Does it feel like that a lot with sometimes with projects like this?
Sometimes, I think, for me, it was interesting because a lot of my stuff is on the field, but we did get to see Anderson at home. We saw at the press conference. For me, it was my favorite scene.
Yeah.
Because the context of the scene was hilarious, what we're talking about and things that were happening. But I think my big thing is like being any professional, being a professional athlete, like the moments after the games where you're at the podium and they're asking questions. I always thought in my mind that maybe at some point I could play a character that would be maybe playing football or NBA or whatever, right? But the moments after that, like being at the podium, is a moment that I don't think anybody, even most guys in their respective fields and profession of like football or NFL, get to have that opportunity to sit in front of reporters and talk about the game.
Yeah.
Unless you're like a guy who's a quarterback or like a star of the team, so that for me was super dope to do. You got your press conference outfit, all these things. And so that was really cool for me. And that's just one of the things that I really liked about the film is that they really tried to paint a full picture, because they really could have left a lot of that on the field and maybe some stuff at the house, but they really tried to put everyone in the world of what they were watching. And it's important for them to show that, also us walking into the arena, those kind of things are things that people don't see if they're fans of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantasy football is premiering on Paramount Plus November 25th. It was so great chatting with you both. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.